Hey, everybody, welcome. Proud to welcome my longtime friend and god sister and someone who's sometimes mad at me and all that stuff, and all but love her anyway, and back and forth and back to vice versa. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf. How you doing?
It's great to see you, Zennie. It's been, gosh, more than 30 years since we first met. I think on a bar stool at the Golden Bear.
That's
And, you know, I was thinking about you recently. We just celebrated the 30th anniversary of the Oakland firestorm. And I remember you were working for Elihu Harris during some pretty tumultuous years in Oakland, the Loma Prieta earthquake, the firestorm. And so, you know, it's been awesome to know you all these years. Sometimes I think you're a better son to my parents than I am a daughter. And anyway, I know we both hella love Oakland. So good to be here with you.
I want to add something regarding the fire. A quick story before we go shift gears. But my plan, I don't know if you know Valerie Ostrom. They stayed on Proctor. And ran into her at the gym. She was absolutely hot. I was going to take her to Lynn and Lou's for brunch. Mm-hmm. And we had an outside table. I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. People were in front of us at Grand, you have the elbows where Grand and Elwood is, right?
Yeah.
We went out to find out what all the commotion was about. We saw the smoke. Valerie said, you know, I got to get my dogs. So we went up there, and I wound up driving them out of a war zone. I will never forget that moment, because I remember Mr. Ostrom said, Zennie, we're never going to get out of here. I said, oh, no, Mr. Ostrom, it's no problem. We just go downhill. We'll make it out. I promise. And we did.
Well, you know, my dad lost his house. My dad lost his house. I was in law school by then, but then I came up because, you know, they weren't even allowed to go back for just like days and days. My sister and I went with him to what used to be his house, and like all that was there was ashes. Like there was just nothing left. It was just unbelievable. And just to think of all the sentimental things that were gone, all the photos. You know, there was some family silver that we found, like a lump of metal, and he's like, I bet this is the silver that I had wanted to give to you girls as a wedding present.
I miss your dad, I gotta say.
Yeah. So anyway.
Where are we with Howard Terminal, Libby?
Howard Terminal, you know, it excites me. I talked about it in my comments today. It is highlighted in the State of the City film, because I talk about how Oakland fights, Oakland cares, and Oakland dreams. And for me, Howard Terminal is one of my big Oakland dreams. And it's bigger than a ballpark. It is an entire waterfront neighborhood. Incredible community benefits, incredible economic engine for the city of Oakland in a way that will not interrupt or endanger in any way the economic engine of our port, our working waterfront. And so I'm excited that we have been working along. The A's have been submitting different things to work towards, you know, all the entitlement approvals. You know, there are about 4 major paths that are going on, and they all have to converge together. Because the way that approvals work in Oakland, because of the complexity and nature of this project, the city council will get everything together. It will get the development agreement. It will get the certification of the final environmental impact report. It will get all of the design standards and general plan amendments, you know, all the planning approvals. All of that will come in a single package to the council after going to the planning commission first. So a lot of moving parts, but lots of progress, especially on, you know, the design review and the project approvals. We are, you know, finally getting some drafting going on the development agreement. Apparently there were 4,000 pages of comments submitted in response to the environmental impact report draft. So those are being analyzed and must be responded to as part of that process. So all of those things are going on. And then, of course, you know, the city very clearly took on the responsibility of that offsite infrastructure. And so we have put together some grant applications. We are moving forward with some some projects that already have been approved by the regional, county ACTC, where we have to just put forward the strategic plan to specifically apply for those funds. And then, of course, with all of the action in Washington, D.C. around infrastructure funding, we are preparing a really great lobbying effort to go after those federal infrastructure dollars to also complement this project.
Where are we with the sources and uses? Because Oakland Athletics President Dave Stewart and I have talked a number of times about that. And what irks me about your consultant public financial management is, unlike Hobbs and On in Las Vegas, a number of other people I've worked with, even as in this guy's, they haven't produced a sources and uses, and they haven't calculated an upfront bond issue calculation based on a debt coverage ratio of 2. We should have $1.6 billion out of that tax increment revenue from that, assuming a $2 billion assessed value base year. Okay, so what's going on? It's taken them so long and we still haven't gotten anything.
So Zennie, this project is at a point yet where there's no final sources and use document, but I have seen many draft ones. They are draft. They are not appropriate for publication because they are not final. And the A's have seen draft sources and use budgets as well. They've been screen shared with them, but they've never been physically given one.
Libby, I'm going to say something as a friend. You share those with me. Okay, because the people that are
then it would become a public document.
No,
we can't do that.
Confidential. Your people do not have my intellectual horsepower. You need to bring that to me for final say, because you're getting screwed by these people. Just saying. Okay.
Well, when the time is appropriate, I look forward to hearing all of your wisdom. I know you have tremendous experience in this issue. You are an expert, and I also know you love Oakland, and you've got our back.
Yeah, and I help the people in Las Vegas. They asked me, you guys never asked. Just saying. That was the Raiders issue. Okay? So, let's come together on this stuff, but me aside, all right? Back to the matter at hand. Why is it taking so long to get the financial part together and the numbers? And also, why not move the county of Alameda out of the way? You don't need the county if you're not going to use their tax increment. You don't need
the county because we are using tax increment. We absolutely need the county. This project does not work without the county.
Ms. Mayor, it only takes 15%. They're 15% of it. That's it. You can make that up by adding 15% to the base year assessed value mathematically. If your consultants tell you otherwise, we'll get in the room and I will smash them in a...
Let me be clear about where my values are. Gotcha. We are never again putting the City of Oakland's general fund at risk.
Not the general fund.
Zennie, you asked me where I am on this. Let me speak. Yeah, and don't try and talk over me with all of your, I know you know your stuff, but I'm just telling you where we are and how we think about this. By using the county's participation, because remember, you had redevelopment. We don't have that anymore. California eliminated redevelopment. And so its stepsister, so to speak, is the Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District. We cannot unilaterally impose that on all the taxing entities. We have to get them to vote to contribute their tax increment into the deal. And that's what we're asking Alameda County to do. And the reason why we need the tax increment financing district to be only over the project area and not what the A's proposed. They wanted a separate a separate area that was outside of the project area.
Yeah, you don't need
the way that we backstop or guarantee that we can service the bonds without ever using revenues that are not directly generated by the project itself is by also creating a community financing district on the project area. And that is an assessment that the A's themselves are liable for. So at any time the project revenues are not equaling the debt service, then that kicks in. They are the guarantor, not the city coffers, not the county coffers. And that is why our taxpayers need to know that we learn mistakes from the past. We are not repeating that terrible Raiders deal that we are still paying for while the Raiders are playing their games in Las Vegas.
But as the person who told Dave Cavallo about EIDLs to begin with, section SB 628B, okay, I'm the person who knows the legislation. A. B, you can do the bond issue without a backstop to the general fund. If they're telling you it's a backstop, they're wrong. You can also use a private activity bond. Also, it's not a matter of the shape of the area. It's the assessed value at the base year, okay? Again, it's a math equation. You're working with the wrong consultants and you're getting bad advice, all right? That's what's going on here, and it keeps repeating itself. I agree with you. Don't repeat the problems of the past. Redevelopment is over here.
Any private placement bonds or limited obligation bonds are also a tool that we're looking at.
Obligation bonds are different from private activity.
I know they are.
No, but I know specifically how they're different, okay?
Zennie, is this a job interview or an interview?
I have a job. I own 68% of my stock here, okay? You should be on the board. You'd be great. You kick my ass that way too. So, right?
Well, listen, I think we're probably putting your viewers to sleep.
No, they love it.
About all this.
They love this stuff. Now, viewers never go to sleep. They're Zinsters. They know this stuff.
All right, but I think they care more about, like, when are they going to see it? Where do they need to show up and advocate? And, like, what is to be expected next? So, breaking news here. No one else knows this, Zennie, I don't think. I've not seen it publicly, so here you go. We have been told that the Alameda County Board of Supervisors has in writing stated their intent, the president who does the scheduling, to actually hear this matter at their October 26th board meeting. So that is going to be a big date for us and for A's fans, because whatever your advice is aside, Zennie, I believe that the only responsible way to do this deal in a way that protects the city's general funds and ensures that the project pays for the project and that the public dollar goes into public benefits like affordable housing and public parks and the public infrastructure. This ballpark must and will be totally privately financed, the ballpark itself, but all those benefits that we're going to realize. That is key to this project being a responsible project and a good deal forever for the people of Oakland. And so hot off the press, exclusive to you, Zennie. Our understanding, we have been told that President Carson has issued a letter stating his intention to schedule it October 26th to the board.
October 26th. I'm writing that down, 26th. But thank you very much. And also, Rick Gray wants to know what you think of the ticket price hike.
That was pretty scary. I'm not sure what to think of it. I hope they're preparing people. I think we should expect to pay higher prices for like an incredible Howard Terminal experience. I'm hoping they're trying to get us ready for that. I do hope, though, that the A's continue. I know this is for season ticket holders. Baseball has always been accessible. It's been a family event. When I go to the Coliseum, I don't get any of that fancy stuff. I get a Coliseum dog and a Bud Light. Like to me, that's baseball, right? It's like every person's enjoyment. And so I do hope the A's continue to make their team, their experience accessible for the full diversity of Oaklanders and people throughout the region. Let's be clear, A's fans do not just live in Oakland. It's been great to see, like the other mayors in Alameda County have all been super supportive, very interested in this project. This is much bigger than Oakland. It's much bigger than baseball. It is a new, regional attraction to really liberate this part of the waterfront. I mean, Oakland's waterfront is spectacular. And Howard Terminal is in the part of the channel that is the most shallow. It literally cannot accommodate the new generation of these mega ships. Now, we've limited a part of the development so that we potentially could build a much larger turning basin for these new mega ships that are coming into the other terminals that are active and operating at the Port of Oakland. So you are going to still utilize Howard Terminal land for port operations. They haven't used it for actual container shipping movement since I think 2013.
This is breaking news. So you're going to use the maritime option? You're going to make Mike Welch and his folks happy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mike Jacob, I'm sorry. There's the
Mike Jacobs.
Yeah,
Mike Jacobs has absolutely been pushing for that turnaround. Although I don't want to misrepresent Mike Jacobs. PMSA has not supported this project at all. They've been pretty clear about what their concerns are. Although I know that was one of their concerns. That is a concern that is being addressed by this project. And another one that I think you're going to see is how we can also ensure that the trains and the trucks that serve the Port of Oakland are going to have a lot more safer interactions or separations from what is already getting to be an unsafe situation at Jack London. I mean, Jack London has become a much more enjoyed entertainment district. I mean, Zennie, you remember when there was nothing down there but the warehouse bar, right?
Yeah,
and now, there are condos, there are clubs, there are CrossFit gyms. I mean, it's a whole mixed use neighborhood. We have to do safer separations of all that mixed use activity from the critical goods movement that happens at that port every day.
I got to ask you about Coliseum, because there's words that you don't want the African American Sports Entertainment Group to have that project site. What's your issue with Ray Bobbitt, or am I wrong?
You are wrong.
Thank you.
I like Ray Bobbitt, and I am rooting for the local team. The thing that I have an issue with is timing. I believe, so because the A's own an undivided half interest in the Coliseum, no matter who the team is, no matter how much the city of Oakland loves them, nothing will get done on that land without the A's approval. And I don't think the A's are in the mood to even think about what's happening on the Coliseum land until the Howard Terminal situation is more resolved. So my big issue is that this has all been a bit premature. I'm glad that people are working on it. I want to be ready to just beautify that area and make it more, community serving. I think East Oakland has kind of gotten the short end of the stick for a long time in so many ways, including how that land has been used. I mean, most of it, Zennie, is a giant surface parking lot that is no longer hosting, those epic Raiders tailgates. We want jobs there. We want parks there. We want things for East Oaklanders to enjoy there. We need affordable housing everywhere. We could get a lot more jobs for East Oaklanders at that Coliseum site. And Ray Bobbitt and his team have a great vision. I just think it's premature to be calling the question, because I don't think the A's are prepared to say, what they're doing, what they're willing to approve, what their criteria is for a partner. And, right now, I also just want to be clear, the city council's direction to me as the administration, and they vote, I don't, is that they actually want us to negotiate with two teams. In addition to Ray Bobbitt's team, also the Dave Stewart team. And so, staff has been doing that. And I kind of wish the council would let us do what they asked us to do. I know that staff actually was prepared to bring back some initial recommendations in November. I think that got pushed up a little bit by Councilmember Kaplan's recent rules request. But I'm excited about the Oakland team. Although, Dave Stewart's kind of the Oakland team too. But
bring them together, because Dave and Lonnie have been taking shots at Rebecca on social media. And as I do in politics, that doesn't fly. Okay. So
listen, I have not been following that. I just want the best deal for Oakland. And I absolutely believe we've got two teams that are qualified. You always kind of have to root for a little bit of the hometown team. And just for me, though, it's just premature. I'd like Howard Terminal to be a little bit further along, a little bit more resolved before we turn our attention to the Coliseum. That's all.
Commissioner of Baseball, because MLB is fooling around in Las Vegas. They're driving what Dave Cavall does. What say you about going straight to the lion's mouth and saying, hey, you know what? Knock this stuff off.
Well, I certainly check in with MLB on a somewhat regular basis. I want to give MLB credit, because I actually think that they are rooting for Oakland. They want to keep the team in its hometown. Now they're also getting a lot of grief from the other teams that are like, this is not a major league facility. The current state of the Coliseum is getting to be very subpar. Like, we have to admit that, right?
To be. Sorry.
So I think we share their frustration. And remember, MLB is a national organization. They've seen facilities go up very quickly in places like Texas and Florida. California, we're a little different. And especially when you are developing on California's precious coastline, you've got to expect that there are a lot of regulatory hoops to jump through, especially with the threat of climate change and our commitment to environmental stewardship. And so that is the work we're doing. And I have to tell you, John Fisher and the A's have a commitment to environmental stewardship. That was part of the legislation that they brought to fast track any CEQA appeals. That was conditioned on environmental stewardship in this project, zero net emissions. And so, a lot of public benefit that is, on the line with this project.
Hey, I want to ask you real quick about legislation that just passed, AB 464, for enhanced industrial financing zones for small business that would get billions. That's what they say for San Francisco and Oakland to help. Why haven't we done anything?
Oh, Zennie, I apologize. I didn't get a heads up that you'd be asking me about that. I'll have to come back another time when I've done my homework better to tell you, the analysis of how that legislation could impact Oakland. So I'm sorry I don't have that on the tip of my tongue. But listen, before we go, and we're over time, as we always are. Look,
I'm milking this.
Look at the city. It was a 23-minute film, and only 10 seconds was about Howard Terminal. What were your impressions? How did you feel as an Oaklander? What did you think?
I'm proud of it, but also I'm here. I got my place on Adams Point. My mom turned 87 on Friday. I'm here for her, and all the reports I get back are these right-wing people putting out these negative images. We got to Visit Oakland to fight this, and we have to have a whole new effort. And we got to come together, Libby. It can't be like, Lauren's out there, he's going to run for, he ain't ready to run for mayor. Carol doesn't really know how to do it. She's my district, okay? She needs to step it up as council member. I'm just saying it like it is, okay? I'm tired of this stuff. All these egos out here, people are not coming together, and they're picking fights all the time. You've done a great job with the Oakland Promise, and Gene Hazard needs to stop picking on you, okay? Because you're Black, you ought to be behind what she's doing.
The last thing I said before we showed the film was, because the name of the film is Oakland Fights, Oakland Cares, Oakland Dreams.
Oh, yes,
and I said,
that was you. Yeah.
Oaklanders know, though, that we get the most done when we come and fight together for our values, and not against one another.
Thank you. We love
my closing remarks at the State of the City. They will be my closing remarks with our interview today. Zennie, my brother, it is always great to see you. I love you.
I love you too.
I just respect the heck out of you, and just it's fun to catch up today.
Keep quiet. Remember, when I criticize, because I love you, and
I know.
Let me kick your people's butt for you. All right, you ain't getting their own advice. You're not. Okay, I'm the expert. They're not. That's got it. Okay.
All right. Take care. Give your mom my birthday wishes and my love. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Definitely. I'll see you.
All right. Bye.